So first episode of the podcast. You
Yeah.
ever think you were gonna be doing a podcast before?
No, I've been asked a lot of times. A lot of people
I
have
mean,
been
I
saying that I should do this,
I
and I
figured
just never jumped on the opportunity.
figured there's several people that I've asked you before to do a podcast, especially the like all the mutuals that you have around the One Piece world.
Yeah.
Figured you'd have a lot of people that'd be asking you all that.
Yeah, I've got
All
a
that
bunch of people that
Tanuki.
I've got probably 5 or 6 that either actively do podcasts or have recommended me to like even like one specific podcast I've been tagged in like 12 times over the last couple days because I guess they're like looking for new guests or something.
Right.
But I just keep
No, I
telling
mean
people like, someday.
someday, but that someday never comes.
Yeah, that's how it is, man.
I know I know I've seen a lot of people on your comment section that they're always like, "Yo, Saiga, when are you gonna do a podcast? I love listening to your voice, all this stuff." So
Yeah,
I
I have
figured
that, and
at
I have
some
people
point
asking
eventually
for
you'd jump on it.
long form YouTube content too, which is I'm starting work on like my first like actual YouTube video. So not going to talk about what it's about because that'll ruin the surprise. But
No
going
spoilers.
to actually start trying to take advantage. Like we have like 10K subs over there, and I haven't posted
Yeah,
like
I
any unique
noticed.
videos there. I think the only one I
Noticed
did
that
was a
when
Yu-Gi-Oh booster box opening video. That was it.
I went looking on YouTube and I found you and I saw that you have like 10K. I'm like, how are you not posting on this, man?
Yeah, I need to get to it, but that's it's all about my routine, right? So like my recording over the last couple years, like recording TikToks, has become part of my daily routine. So it doesn't feel even
Right.
like work, right? So my brain is just like, oh, this is what we do, right? Excuse me. But then when I sit down to make a YouTube video or like to write a script, because I don't script anything. So like when I sit down to write a
You
script,
don't?
I'm like, well, this feels like homework. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I never did homework. I would just I'd have straight A's if I had done my homework, but I was a straight C student. Like it's tough. So I got to figure out a way to make it fun and make it something that I want to do every day, and then it'll become part of my routine, and then I'm sure I'll have regular
Right.
uploads. Like probably I would like to at least have like um once a month uploads on YouTube. But
Mhm.
obviously the goal and what would make a more enjoyable experience for the viewers would probably be like more consistent, like once a week or something like that. But it's just like it's also
Yeah.
something I've never done before. Like I mean I feel like everybody when they were a teenager uploaded a YouTube video. But
Right.
I've never like edited, I've never done that. Like I don't know what type of content I want to make. I'm thinking probably where you have like footage of the anime in the background or something like that, or manga panels, and it's just me talking over it. I'll probably do that to start, and then once I get like a whole recording area fully set up, and I like because like the issue up here where I usually record is the echo is terrible. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna be building a box to keep my mic in so that I can get clean audio. And I got that new mic that I saw you were
Yeah, I
disappointed with me
saw you got
purchasing.
the Rode mic. Come on, man, DJI fam.
I didn't even know there was
Did
beef.
someone recommend? Did someone recommend you that one, or did you just find it when you were doing some
Um,
searching online?
I saw it in a bunch of different like I'm not an audio guy. So like I saw a
Hmm.
bunch of different people using it. I watched reviews of it and people are like, "Yeah, it sounds good. This is, this works." Um and the thing that I like specifically about the wireless Go 2 is that it came with two mics. So you just need the one receiver and the two mics and then you're good to go.
Nice.
So it's like built-in interview content. Yeah, that's the DJI one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I use the DJI because it's just I use it for work because I do photography and videography
Mm.
for a living because I'm not cool like you and I can do content creation all the time.
Well, who knows,
But
man? With
yeah,
TikTok, like how it is right now, I'm probably gonna be flipping burgers, doing something.
there's no way, man. Is it really going that bad?
Dude, it's
Like,
rough right now. I got I probably just with the uploads I got yesterday, probably cleared like 100,000 views. I made $8 in yesterday.
and that's why you gotta hop on that YouTube train, man.
Yeah.
Especially if you got 10K followers, you're already able to monetize. No, you
Well,
got not
we still
followers.
need
Wait,
view time, I think.
YouTube and subscribe. Oh yeah, I forgot that. That's the thing. You need 1,000 subscribers and then like a million hours worth of watch time or something
Yeah,
like that.
I forget. I think it was
Mm.
we were at like 5% of what we needed in terms of view
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
because Seven manages the YouTube over there. So I gotta give him more content to manage.
Yeah.
Because ever since
Oh,
that
you got a
new
seven-figure man to run your YouTube channel?
yeah, so ever since I
Yeah.
did the creativity beta, like it requires minimum 60-second videos, which
Yeah.
means that like ever since I got into that, none of my videos can be recycled as YouTube shorts. So that was like the big thing that we were putting over there to build up a subscriber base. And ever since the new
You'd be
beta program, it
surprised,
kind of
man.
killed that.
You'd be surprised, man. You can chop it up. Like for example, all that beginning portion where you're like, if you're not caught up, feel free to keep scrolling. That's a couple seconds that you can take out, and then you grab like the most important part of the video, and you can put it as shorts. At least that's what I do with mine. I do
Yeah, I mean,
upload
I might
some to
also do
YouTube
like
short.
just shorter versions, like
Mhm.
because like on TikTok, like there's like an on purpose stretching your video to make it 60 seconds just because you want it to be
Yeah,
monetizable. I could re-record the videos and just make them shorter. You know, like
that too.
there's no like because
But
a lot of the times what I'll do is like I'll add like extra details to like fill in the time. If I just remove that and just give a straight up answer, like there you go, there's the video.
reminds me now that I mentioned the whole if you're not cut off, if you keep scrolling. How are you gonna do that for the podcast now? If we like whenever we get into topics about like talking about One Piece or anything like that, how are you gonna do the whole if you're not cut up, feel free to keep scrolling on the podcast?
See, I have a little bit of practice with this because I've been doing lives. So like my live could be
Yeah.
like we've been doing Spider-Man 2 gameplay, right? People will come in and they'll be like, "Yo, what do you think of chapter 1095 or what do you think of the leaks from 1096?" You know, stuff that like I haven't even seen yet, right? But people will ask questions all the time about like Wano stuff or Egghead stuff, and I'll just be like, I'll start to answer the question, and I'll catch myself, and I'll be like, "Oh, spoilers, by the way. If you're not caught up to this point, I'm about to talk about that. So plug your ears for like 30 seconds, you know." And then I'll go into it, and then I'll be like, "All right, you're good," you know, right back to it.
Yeah,
Either
you
that, or I'll
haven't.
just say like, I mean, since I can't really control chat, I'll just say like, "Hey guys, no spoilers." I won't even acknowledge what they
Mhm.
said, you know. That way, if somebody wants to like scroll past it in the chat, they can. Um, but yeah, it just
Wait, so you
depends,
haven't
and
read the leaks?
I have not read the leaks yet. I'm going
Oh man,
completely blind into this chapter. That's been my new policy, especially because Oda has been cooking, dude. Oda has been going so hard with every single chapter. It's in my opinion the best experience is to go in expecting nothing. Like just like
that
I don't even want to know who shows up. I don't want to know where the chapter takes place, especially because that's a thing now. We don't even know where the chapter is going to take place. It could be on
I know because
Hachinosu.
I read it.
It could be on Egghead. It could be in the first half of the Grand Line. We don't know. Like there was literally a whole segment in the first half of the Grand Line. You know, so like
Man,
and especially with what we're getting into now, I want to see it first on panel. Like knowing what the last chapter was, like 1095, whatever's in 1096, I know it's going to be fire, but I don't want to know what it is till I read it. And like the
I'm not
thing is,
gonna
like
tell you.
we already get the chapter like Wednesday, Thursday, you know, so we're already getting it
Mhm.
several days early. I don't need to be on Monday. I don't need to already be reading the summary for the next chapter when the official just dropped the day before. You know,
I already read the leaks. I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I can tell you that Oda definitely dropped a bomb on this one.
that's what I've been
It
hearing.
feels
That's the only thing I've been
like
allowing myself to hear.
how he usually does. You know that at like the 900,000, 1,100, it feels
Mhm.
like he's dropping or building up to something huge for 1,100.
A lot of
Because
people have been
this
saying that.
episode, or not this episode, this chapter was massive. I would like to be like that, but the problem that I have, especially for Boruto, I have so many Boruto followers that the second the leaks drop, I get tagged in like 15, 20 videos the day of.
Yep.
And now lately, because I've been doing a lot of JJK content, I get tagged on JJK spoilers at like 2, 3 in the morning. Separate people tag me on videos, and then I get spoiled for it too. So I've kind of stopped. I like at this point when the leaks come out, I read them because I don't have a chance. People don't, as much as I say, don't tag me. I want to read the chapter when it comes out in full. Just tag me on everything, and then I get spoiled. Like the second I scroll through 2 videos, then I see the spoilers already. That's why I made a whole video. Like, guys, just put a spoiler warning at the beginning. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't take that much. Like with the whole
Excuse me.
thing of Gojo when Gojo happened, everyone like the first page of everything was the panel of Gojo on the ground.
Oh
And I'm
yeah, and it
like,
was
yo,
everybody's profile picture. Like,
everyone. Like, it doesn't take that long to just put a spoiler warning, so people that haven't seen it or want to wait don't see it.
well, it's like I've even seen people do like it'll be like a 7-second audio, and they're just like acting something out, and they'll even have the name of who they're acting out. But for like 2 seconds at the beginning, it'll say spoilers, like whatever island spoilers, right? And then that'll disappear, and you can see what the context is, right? Like it'll be like,
Right.
law when Luffy doesn't go along with the plan or something like that, right? But they might be specifically referring to like something that happened in Wano. And so it'll just say spoilers for Wano with law above their head, and then you can see like what they're trying to say. Like it's easy. Even on like they took 2 seconds out of their 7-second video to give a spoiler warning. You can take 2 seconds. Like my spoiler warnings, it's 3 seconds. That's not it. I just say spoilers for this arc. If you're not caught up, feel free to keep scrolling. That's it. And then I got 57 seconds of content. You know what I mean? Like where before I get
Yeah.
monetized.
Yeah, I do. I don't do the same thing as you. I try not to start with the whole like this is going to be a spoiler warning just because I don't gain as much traction on my videos as you do. So I
Mm.
start with some sort of hook line like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be massive," and then I give the spoiler warning. Or if there's a specific character that's gonna be big, like not gonna believe what happened to Luffy, and then I go into like this is gonna be a spoiler warning.
Yeah,
But I
I've
gotta
done
try
that
to use
too.
something to hook people.
I've done that too. I just fell into the habit of just of just being like
Oh,
spoilers,
I mean,
and
I
like I said, I don't script anything out. So like sometimes I'll record a video multiple times because I'll be like, "Oh, spoilers for Annie's lobby," right? And then I'll start
mhm,
explaining the answer to the question, and I'll realize I have to draw from a later arc to finish this explanation. So either I'll completely like erase the video and start over and give the later spoiler warning, or like halfway through the video I'll be like, secondary spoiler warning. We're gonna have to get into a little bit more detail here, because it's like the thing is like, Wano Wano was the most recent arc. Like for anime only watchers,
mhm.
Wano is still the most recent arc, right? So much happened in Wano that recontextualizes stuff from earlier on that like people who aren't caught up to Wano, the only like if they don't want spoilers, the only thing they ever see on my page is spoilers for Wano, spoilers for Wano, spoilers for Wano,
That's what I
spoilers
know.
for Wano. So I try
Especially when you get a
sometimes
bunch
to
of
be like,
requests.
I'm gonna give a base level explanation, and then I'll get into more
Mhm.
detail later in the video. Or what I'll do is I will I will answer somebody's question, and people always want to correct me in the comments when I do this. But what I do is I'll give
Hard.
them the explanation that doesn't. I'll give them an explanation specifically for the island that they're on. Right. So I'll be like, this is everything that we know about that character up to the point where you are. Right. Now that might be outdated information, like spoilers for chapter 1044. Right. But if somebody asks
Mhm.
about a paramecia devil fruit and they're specifically referring to Luffy's, I will answer their question as though Luffy has a paramecia. And like people get upset about that. They're like, but it was revealed. And I'm like, yes, but they haven't made it to the reveal yet. So I'm
But they
going to
haven't made it
explain
yet.
with the context that they have what's going on. Right. And then when they get the big reveal, I can be like, yeah, none of that explanation changes. The only thing that changes is the fact that his fruit is classified differently. So that answer is still legitimate. But people get so upset with it. But then on the other
Oh yeah,
hand,
I've
you get
had the
people
same
who are
issue.
the opposite, right? So like I made a video a while ago saying that Luffy's fruit is not only the first Zoan, but the first mythical Zoan that we ever saw in the series. Because chapter 1 he eats that fruit. And so many people argued with me about that because they were like, "No, it was a
Yeah,
paramecia back then." And then I had a whole series of videos talking about like that doesn't mean anything. Like that like
yeah, like
it's an
that got
arbitrary
thrown out the
labeling
window.
that the world government puts on it. Like it fits into the category of Zoan, but these are fictional categories. These are all just devil fruits, right? It doesn't matter like when they gave it the name. It is a Zoan,
Right.
right? It has those features, and therefore it's the first one that we saw. So it's funny because it's like I can exclude spoilers or I can include spoilers, and either way, people want to correct me on it.
No. Yeah, people are never happy about it. I had the same issue with Jujutsu Kaisen when I get people because Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know how far into the manga you are, so I don't want to
Yeah,
spoil
I only finished season
anything.
1 of the anime.
Oh, you haven't even read the manga?
Nah, I got turned off on the manga just because of
Oh,
the fandom, but I'm coming back around
oh
to it.
yeah, no.
I'm gonna be honest. I've seen some
Yeah,
of the
no, there's
animation in season 2, and I'm turning back around on
oh,
Jujutsu Kaisen, man.
season 2 is good. Honestly, I think that either Jujutsu Kaisen or Bleach Thousand Year Blood War are going to win anime of the year
I
because the
wouldn't be
story
mad.
has been great and the animation for both. Like I know a lot of people are probably gonna get upset that I'm not including Gear 5 Luffy into all of this, but
Mhm.
man, it's both of those have been great. But going back to the whole spoiler thing, I've had the same issue with Jujutsu Kaisen because when I make content about it, since most of my content now has turned into like explaining stuff that people don't understand or like they are confused about. Some people ask me about something that happened to a character, but I explained it up until the point that they asked me the question, and then we know like 20 chapters later we find out that it was actually something completely different. But because this person is asking me about a specific event, I talk up to that event, so I make it seem like that's it. And then I get so many people in the comments, well, actually, this was disproven already by this and that.
Yeah,
I know that, but this is spoilers, and this person hasn't even got there. They just didn't understand, so I'm not gonna spoil it for them. And I get so many people in the comment. Like just recently, somebody asked me to make a video comparing the Sharingan to Zen's Kyoka Suigetsu. So I made the video specifically about both of those abilities. What not Sharingan, sorry, Genjutsu versus the Kyoka Suigetsu from Bleach to be able to hypnotize people and all that.
yeah.
So I made the video specifically about what Genjutsu does and what Kyoka Suigetsu does. And in the video, I explained that in order for Kyoka Suigetsu to be activated, you have to see Aizen basically release the Sanpakuto.
Mhm.
Everyone was like, well, actually, in Thousand Year Blood War, he doesn't do that anymore. I'm like, this isn't about Aizen. This is about the ability itself.
Yeah,
People want to come in the comments and correct me because I'm not talking about something that hasn't even been animated yet. Like it happens way later in the manga,
yeah.
but you can never make everyone happy.
Well, it's like
But I
for
can't
me,
believe.
the ones that I got was about like Luffy's fruit. So I was like, this is a paramecia devil fruit, right? It turns his body into rubber, blah 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 blah. And this person was commenting, and they were like, actually, it's a mythical Zoan, and it's called the Hito Hito no Mimaru Nika. And I'm like, listen, bro, there are two reasons that as a One Piece creator, I would not have mentioned that. The first is that the person who asked me the question is not caught up, and therefore I don't want to spoil them. The second
And they
is
need
that
to feel
I'm
free to
not
keep
caught up,
scrolling.
and therefore I don't want to be spoiled. So, like, the only thing that you did with this comment is spoil somebody. Like, there's no reason for you to leave this comment. Like, I know and you don't need to tell everybody. Like, it happens 1044 chapters into the series. For 1043 chapters, it is specifically known as a paramecia, and that's where
Right.
the vast majority of fans probably are. One Piece is blowing up right now. It's got a ton of new people. That's why I do spoiler warnings for everything post East Blue. Like, and I'm gonna explain it in that context. But like, I was like, I
Hmm.
don't know why you guys leave these comments specifically just to spoil. But I think
Especially
really
now
what it
that.
is people like being right. People like having an
Mhm.
answer to a question, and I think people especially get like a kick out of being able to correct a content creator because we're seen as like a basic, not like an authority, but we're seen as
Right, we're
having
the
credibility to
encyclopedia.
what we say. So
Right.
if they can correct you, then they have more credibility. Like they found a crack in your armor, right? Like they got one
Like
over on you.
they
It,
get
it,
they get a kick out of correcting us.
yeah,
Which I mean, I don't understand why. It's not like whatever we say is the gospel. We see something, we understand it a specific way, and then we explain it.
yeah,
If it's not the same as somebody else, but like always, the anime community just doesn't understand what opinions are.
yeah. Well, the other thing with the whole opinion thing is I made this video where I was just like, sometimes I will interject an opinion into a video, like, or I'll be like, and I'll specifically note, I'll be like, now this part is just headcanon, or I'll be like, this is my personal theory, right? And then I'll explain it. But like, I made a video and I didn't insert any of my like personal opinions into it. I was just like, this is what happens in those chapters, right? And this person commented and said, this guy has the worst takes. And this other guy responded and he's like, what take, bro? He just read you the story. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, that's what it says. And it's like, I think that there are, especially in the One Piece community, there are a lot of people who do not consume One Piece content from the source. They consume content about One Piece, but they don't consume One Piece. And so, like, no matter what you say, they're like, "Well, I've never heard that before, so it must be a fan theory, right?" And I will have
Right.
panels on screen behind me, and I will point to the text bubble that I'm reading, and people will still be like, "That didn't happen." It's like they just
I
listen. It's like they treat my TikToks like a podcast, and they just they just listen
I
to it.
I get the exact same thing, but with Boruto. Just recently, when I explained it, when I did my whole like chapter 3 review, I
Hmm.
am going like panel by panel and I'm reading exactly what it says on the panel. And I get people in the comments like, "Oh, this dude is just yapping nonstop. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about." I'm like, I'm literally doing a chapter review by reading panel by panel.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't understand. But I still can't get over the fact that you don't script your videos. With how many videos you post a day, how specific you are about like this is gonna be chapter 187 and episode 200.
Yeah.
How do you not script your videos? Because I make like 3 4 videos a day. Sit down, I open up Word doc, and then I write like this is gonna be the title, and then I write like the whole script of my video and make sure like cross reference and that like the information I'm gonna say is right, and then I like add this image here, add that image there.
I
I
don't
do
think
like
about
4
any of
videos.
that, dude. I don't
Man,
think about any
I
of that. And I can't. So my thing was like, and I think it is an ADHD thing, but like even when I was in high school, right? I've never written a rough draft for a paper. I've never done that. I can't, because the way that my mind sees that is my mind was always like, well, why would I write a worse version of my paper first? Why don't I just write the paper and then I hand it in? And every single time I'd get an A, because that's how I work, right? I just let it
Mhm.
flow. But like when I start making a script, I'm immediately bored. I'm immediately bored. And like I just did a video about the Rock Salt Light novel that was sent to me by Japanimir, and that was a scripted video for the most part. I was just chilling there reading, and I knew like what he wanted in terms of like he wanted me to like give a brief explanation of what was going on, right? And I hit a certain point in the story where I was like, "Oh, I have." Excuse me. I was like, "I have the perfect idea for the video," and I just typed it all out immediately. But even then, I completely went off script for parts of the video, because it's like once I start recording, what I say just starts coming out. You know what I mean? But like specifically in reference to the spoiler warnings, what I do is like, let's say somebody asks me about how does Blackbeard's devil fruit work, right? I will just real quick think of like, okay, how far into the series, like I'll know like, okay, he fights with Ace here, he displays this ability here, he displays this ability here, so I'll go for whatever the latest, like the most recent one was, and that's my spoiler warning. um Now typically, like for example, somebody asked me about Katakuri's devil fruit. That's easy, Whole Cake Island spoilers, and then I can talk about whatever I want, because we learn
Yeah.
everything we need to know about his devil fruit by the end of that arc, right? Those are the easy ones. But like, if somebody asks me about mythical Zoans, I know I'm gonna mention Luffy, and so during that video, I'll say chapter 1044, episode 1071. If you're not caught up, scroll. That way I can talk about it. But there are times where like I'll like recently I've been asked a lot about Luffy's devil fruit, and the vast majority of what we've seen from his fruit has been an egghead. So I'll just say spoilers for egghead. If you're not caught up, keep scrolling, because I had a
Right.
couple videos where I said like spoilers for chapter 1044 because I wanted to talk about the Gear 5 form, and then I'd catch myself referencing things like him manifesting goggles in Egghead, and I'm like, oh, now I got to
Yeah.
re-record the whole video. But sometimes I'll be recording a video and it'll just flow out and it's done, and then other times I will sit with one video. It might end up like the finished product is like 65 seconds long, but it took me an hour to record, because I knew I wanted to get something across, but I didn't know exactly how to say it, and I can't figure out how to get that message across by writing it out. I have to do it improvised, or I just can't do it. Back last April when I was emceeing the panels for JoJo and AOT at WeebCon,
Mhm.
I had no idea what to do. I showed up.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I don't really do public speaking. I mean, technically I
Yeah.
do, but over the internet, right? I don't really do
Yeah.
in person public speaking. So, and I do get stage fright. But despite the fact that I get stage fright, I went over there. I was talking to the people backstage. I was talking to the voice actors and everything,
And
just
you
kind of
just
hanging
winged it.
out. I had a mic in hand. I was waiting for them to turn it on. They turned it on. I walk out and just start talking. and,
Just wing
and
it
it just
right there.
works. And it's like, whenever there was about to be dead air, somehow my brain just gives me the next thing to say, and I get into that flow state. And it's kind of like when you're playing a video game and you hit flow state, right? You're not thinking about what you're doing, it
Mhm.
just works. And I can't do it on demand, but I've found that if I if I'm in that situation and it has to happen, it just happens.
Yeah, I used to do my content the exact same way, but I've changed the format of my content so much that I can't just wing it anymore. Mostly because like I started doing just Naruto content and that I know off the top of my head. So
Yeah.
whenever someone asks me something about Naruto, I'll just talk about it. I didn't give spoiler warnings like you, but I would talk about it. And then I switched over to doing a little more of like One Piece content. And then I switched over to doing that time I got reincarnated as a slime content.
Dude, I
And now I'm
binge your
kind of at
slime
this spot.
videos.
Yeah,
I'm not caught up, but those are if you ever see me showing up in your notifications favoriting your videos, it's because I'm going to binge them later tonight.
that's awesome. No, it's just that the thing is with that time I got reincarnated as a slime is that it's all a light novel. And I don't know how many light novels you've read, but like the every single volume is like 400 pages long, and
Yeah.
there's 20 of them, with that 21st coming out in like a week. So there's so much information out there. The manga is barely in like volume 7. The anime is on volume 6. So there's so much information. I get so many people asking me about it,
Yeah.
and so I have to go back. I try to reference the book wherever which part it is. Now I got people asking me to like do review like a whole book. I just started doing YouTube videos reviewing the light novel volumes,
Yeah.
turning them into like 25-minute long videos. It's insane. But going back to what we were talking about, I've kind of turned into now this like doing factual and explanation type content
Yeah.
that I can't just wing it on the spot. I have to try to go back. I have to research and make sure that what I'm saying is right, because if I explain something wrong, then whoever sees it is going to understand it wrong, and then they're going about it with the wrong information.
Yeah.
So I have to go back. I have to script it and make sure, like, okay, I didn't forget to say this part. I didn't forget to say that part. But I spend like 2-3 hours every night scripting my videos, and then I spend like 10 minutes recording them,
See.
because since I already have it scripted and all, it doesn't take me long to record the videos. The longest thing that it takes me is doing the research and making sure that I got all of it in there. Like I'm about to post a video now on bleach cosmology because somebody asked me to explain all of the pocket dimensions and all of the universes in bleach. Like I can't do that off the top of my head, man. It's
Yeah, I mean,
way too
I don't do
complicated.
everything off the top of my head, and there are times where like mid video, like in the middle of recording it, I'll know what I want to say next, but I'll head over to the wiki and I'll look up the chapter just so I can go back to the manga. Like that's why I really like having all the physical volumes of One Piece, because I can
It's
just
it
go to the
hits
volume, I
different.
can look it up, I can have it there and record on my phone. Um like let's say I'm talking about like the video that I did about somebody asked me, do I think that Monkey D. Dragon was found on God Valley, right? So, like, in the middle of recording that, I'm double checking, like, okay, when do we have information on when the freedom fighters were founded? Do we have, like, what exact year were the revolutionaries founded? Like, I'll double check little details like that to know that, like, my timeline and my explanation is correct. But, like, I'd say probably like 75% of my videos are completely off the dome. Like, I don't really have to research anything for them. But I
Kudos
also
to you, man.
I also spend so much time answering similar questions or referencing similar
Yes.
chapters that you get to the point where like you can almost recite entire chapters by by heart. And you like
Yeah.
I have like I call them like tent posts. So I'll have like pieces in the manga where like I know that what I'm trying to talk about happens exactly here. This like like a couple like easy examples would be like 1044 is Luffy's awakening, right? That's an easy example. In the 960s, that's around where we're getting all the Odin and Roger information, right? Like
Right.
Egghead is the first time that Luffy manifests something. Like those types of things are like I know when they happen, so I know what arc immediately to say at the beginning for my spoiler warning. And I also like I'm not super specific with my spoiler warnings either. And like so most of the time I just say an arc. Like I'll be like, oh, spoilers for the Water 7 Enies Lobby arc because I'm going to be jumping around there. The only time that I really get more specific it like when I say like chapters or episodes is when something very specific happens in that chapter or if it hasn't been animated yet. So and like because I used to say like spoilers for the manga, but that doesn't age well because once it's animated, now those are anime spoilers, you know.
Right.
So like that's why now I've switched from saying 1044 to 1044 and 1071, right? So that anime people now like I try and keep that in the back of my mind, right? Um but yeah, it's most of the time it's really easy. Like I'm you know, if I'm not talking about the East Blue or Annie's Lobby, I'm talking about Marineford or I'm talking about Wano, typically. Right? You know, it's like I
Yeah.
know what
The big
happens in those
ones. The
arcs. I
big
know
ones.
where that, you know, where I have to go to confirm my information. I know all that by now because I've done it 4,000 plus times. You know, like I have a lot of videos that I put up. Actually, let me see. Let me double check here and see how many I actually have. Uh,
Oh man, you have a lot.
I do have a lot. Social Blade.
Especially now that you post like 8 to 9 videos a day.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
gotta
I
have like,
for the longest time I
and
was
you've been doing it
doing
for over a year.
apologies for my clicky keyboard. For the longest
No, you're
time,
good. Barely hear you.
uh, I was doing 10 a day, and that was when I was working a full time job too. I just had the you know I was also uploading 10 videos a day, but those also were not
Trying to find the soot food.
yeah while I was working as a chimney sweep, but those weren't all 60 plus second videos either. Some of them would be like 3 minutes, and then other ones would be like 23 seconds because that was before I switched
Hmm.
over to having to have longer
Yeah.
ones. Um, yeah, let's switch to TikTok. Yeah, I have 4,381 uploaded videos on TikTok.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I need to check and see how many I have uploaded. I know I'm not nowhere near that,
there
especially
are
since I've only been doing it for a year.
there
But
are over a billion people that use TikTok. Out of those billion people, there are only 5,639 people that have uploaded more videos than me.
Jesus, man, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot. But hey, it got you to 300K.
Yeah, we're at
Honestly,
344 now.
over the past few months, your page has exploded, man. I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
like 3, 4 months ago, you were still at like 130, and then over the course of 2 months, you gained like 200,000 followers. That was
Yeah.
insane.
I was at 191 on July 4th. And now here we are, October 25th, and I'm at 344.
350.
Now
That's
it's slowed
insane,
down.
man.
I have noticed there's a kind of a roller coaster with TikTok.
Yeah,
So like you'll have like like usually it's like a couple weeks where you're doing really well, everything's going fantastic, and then you'll just kind of plateau or you'll dip. And if you like a lot of people at that point they feel like they're falling off, but if you just keep posting, the algorithm will find you again. It'll pick you
it'll
back
go
up.
back again.
The only thing that's different
Yeah,
right
for me,
now
it's the
is
same thing.
what's that?
For me, it's the same thing. It's just for me, it doesn't go up by 100,000. It goes up like 1 or 2,000 a week.
I mean, to be fair, for me, it usually doesn't go up like that either. This was like it took me 2 years to get to that 191, you know. But
That's still insane.
yeah, it's the only difference this time with the kind of dip in performance is that it's across the board and it's been drastic. Like like I know myself, Brody, there's a couple other of my mutuals that
Yeah,
like
I saw Brody is about to hit 100.
but well, I mean, they've gotten in contact with me and said that like their growth has stopped. Like he's getting close to 100, but like his views per video plummeted, his payout plummeted. He's another one like just like me, where like his primary income is TikTok, and he's actually the one who got me to get into the beta program because he was I think he posted a video saying like he made like $80 in a day, and I was like that's not bad for TikTok. You know what I mean?
Not at
So I,
all.
I signed up while I was still working because I'm like that's a good amount to augment my income, and then it got to the point where I was paying out more than my actual job, and that's why I switched full time. But now both of us kind of fell for that trap because now we don't have a regular job, and TikTok has decided to just like nix our pay.
That's why you gotta hop on that YouTube, man. YouTube pays like 12 times more than what TikTok does per 1,000 views.
Yeah,
Really need to hop on,
I think I will get
especially if you
started on
got
a
10K
rough script
subscribers
for
already.
a video today.